Part 45. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 443. It was already dark when we returned to the company, and the lights in all departments had been turned off. Only the lights in the canteen and general department were still on. Han Qian went upstairs with instant noodles and sausages in his hands. When everyone opened the door, everyone was busy working. Han Qian sighed and said softly, "Let's eat first." Everyone looked at the instant noodles in Han Qian's hand and had no appetite. Before Han Qian could sit down, Ji Jing came in casual clothes. She walked into the general department with a thermos bucket and placed it on Han Qian's table, saying softly, "I made dumplings for you. They are vegetarian. I have been busy all afternoon. You should eat something first." As he spoke, he took out a cup of warm tea, wolfberry, lemon, and scented tea from his pocket. Han Qian took the cup and said softly, "Why don't you take a good rest at home? Your operations department has been very tired recently." Just when Ji Jing was about to speak, Yang Lan opened the door and walked out of the office with a smirk on her face. "What? Are you afraid that I will make your eldest nephew hungry?" "Huh? Hey, dumplings, I have to try them first." Ji Jing wanted to stop it, but she was a little embarrassed. Han Qian couldn't say anything, but he grabbed one and threw it into his mouth. Not bad, Aunt Ji's cooking skills are very good, she's almost catching up with the child monster." This is definitely a sentence that has passed through the brain, but Ji Jing thought very simply and said softly, "Really? I called Teacher Tong specifically to ask." Yang Lan sat on the desk and ate dumplings from a thermos bucket. While eating, she asked Ji Jing if she was distressed. Han Qian could only pretend that he didn't hear the joke between best friends, and Yang Lan only ate two and left them there. When Ji Jing picked up the thermos bucket and prepared to feed Han Qian, Yan Qingqing's angry shouts came from outside the door. "I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed that such a thing has to take a week. Xiao Yangjia, tell them, I'll give them 4 days to change the food and beverage for me when the mall is open for business, otherwise there won't be any changes. I want to get my salary, but the dead giant baby asked me to take care of her husband. How the hell do I know who her husband is?" Seeing Yan Qingqing walking into the general department with a fierce look, Han Qian was a little panicked. Yan Qingqing was slightly stunned when she saw Ji Jing and frowned. "Why are you out here late at night when you're not resting at home?" Ji Jing turned around and smiled. Huh? What's that thing in your hand? Don't give it to me. I don't know you anymore. Show it to me." Yan Qingqing reached out and grabbed the thermos bucket from Ji Jing's hand. When she saw that it was dumplings, her expression finally softened. She glanced at Han Qian and threatened, "Are you hungry?" Han Qian turned around to prepare for work. Yan Qingqing filled her mouth with dumplings one by one. Then she opened the cup of warm tea prepared by Ji Jing on the table and drank it. Han Qian turned his head and took a deep breath, pointing at the tip of his nose. "Road. Mine. Mine. Mine." Yan Qingqing frowned. "Am I blind? What? I can't even give you a glass of water. You ate my bucket of dumplings, and I haven't eaten yet. Order takeout. Is your takeout open at this time on the 15th day of the first lunar month? Aren't there instant noodles here? Don't bother me, I'm very upset." Han Qian picked up the documents on the table and stood up, sighing at Ji Jing. "What can we do if we encounter a bandit leader?" At 9 o'clock in the evening, Han Qian couldn't bear it anymore. After making several calls, the shops were closed. Han Qian lay on the table and fiddled with his cell phone feebly. By this time Ji Jing had gone home, Yan Qingqing had also left, and there was no place to buy food at night. What to do? Then Han Qian looked at Yang Lan and said softly, "Sister Yang, are there a lot of snacks over there for little Yang Jia?" Yang Lan smiled. I packed it up for the Chinese New Year. I won't let her eat it this year. All she can think about is eating, and she has no thoughts of falling in love. Otherwise, she'll just make do with instant noodles. After the words fell, De Chiener spoke first. I don't want to eat instant noodles. Shan Shan said immediately. I don't want to eat it either. Han Qian leaned on the table again, took out his mobile phone and made a call. We are working overtime and I am so hungry. The company cafeteria is under renovation and I cannot eat. MS Sir, wait for me. After hearing Cai Qinghu's answer, Han Qian breathed a sigh of relief and waited for Cai Qinghu's arrival. An hour later, the sound of high heels was heard outside the door. Han Qian stood up and rushed out of the general department as if he had been given a shot of blood. As soon as he exposed his head, he turned around and ran back. Oh my God, something is wrong. It was not Cai Qinghu who came, but Gao Jishi and Wu Siquan. They were Sun Ya and Yeji. Han Qian hurriedly sent a text message to Cai Qinghu and asked what was going on. Cai Qinghu told Han Qian that she would be busy at the moment and called Wu Siquan. Phone number. But how did high fulfillment come about? Wu Sijuan walked into the general department, and the senior members of the general department greeted him with a smile. Yang Lan looked a little strange when she saw Yates behind Wu Sijuan, but Yates didn't change his expression at all. He put the fast food in his hand on the table. He whispered to Han Qian. Master Han, the midnight snacks are here. If you need anything, please call me anytime. Han Qian nodded slightly, then turned to look at Gao Xincheng and smiled. Vice President Gao is here so late to inspect the work. Gao Xincheng smiled and shook his head. I saw it was getting late, so I thought I would come over and ask the elites in the general department if they have any needs. I will be an old servant to serve you today. Han Qian stood up and smiled. Real. Real. Okay. Vice President Gao, why don't you prepare some drinks for us first? Milk tea, okay. The milk tea Sister Yaya bought is delicious. Brothers and sisters, please don't save money for Vice President Gao. Sun Ya glared at Han Qian angrily and whispered. Little ancestor, you are really good at torturing people. I will buy it for you. Are Gao Zixi and Sun Ye left from the general department so kind? Han Qian couldn't guess, and he didn't want to guess. I was busy until 2 o'clock in the middle of the night when I finished my work and packed my things to go home. Qian Wan's bodyguard was already waiting downstairs. Miss Ye Lai also came to pick up Sul Yang. Han Qian told Sul Yang to drive and follow Sister Yang first. When Sister Yang got home, the two of them were going back. Lu Zhulong's eyes were filled with resentment. Han Qian drove his carless colleague back first, and then returned to the downstairs of the company. Han Qian took out his mobile phone and called Tanjeo. It was still on the blacklist. It seemed that this girl was really not prepared to talk to Han Qian. Humble. After getting out of the car and smoking a cigarette, Han Qian took out his mobile phone and called Feng Lun directly. The number was empty. Han Qian suddenly felt a little bored. Lin Zongheng became honest, Lu Shengge stopped coming back from the capital, and Feng Lun also ran away. A little lonely, a little empty. Out of boredom, Han Qian called Lin Zongheng directly. It took a long time before the call was answered. Lin Zongheng's confused voice came over the phone, and Han Qian spoke directly. Tell me where Guda Pao is and I'll let your mall open tomorrow morning. Han Qian, I'm going to hum your grandma. Then you have to wait half a month. This time Han Qian blocked Lin Zongheng. I go to chapter 3. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 444. Lin Zongheng couldn't sleep after Han Qian made such a fuss. Now the merchants are chasing the company to ask for an explanation, either to open now or refund their rent money for this month. This is not as simple as just shutting down business for a month. There are many New Year's goods that cannot be sold after a period of time, and Lin Zongheng discovered that the Wen party seemed to be making moves. Lin Zongheng also discovered that whether the mall can open now depends on Han Qian's words. Han Qian, a person who has to calculate every meal, will definitely maximize the benefits of this matter, and the one who will benefit is definitely warmth. Get out of bed, find several other mobile phones, and call Han Qian. Mad Dog Han, find a place to chat. Just talk about your grandma, and ask your fiancé and your father to go to the Glory group to apologize to me during the day tomorrow. Let this matter be over. Han Qian, don't be so shameless. Lin Zongheng threw the phone angrily. He was so angry that he picked up another phone and called Han Qian again. This time Han Qian simply stopped answering. Lin Zongheng was so angry that he couldn't sleep. It was him. This mud-legged thing took away the warmth, and then gave him a terrible headache. The most important thing was that he couldn't move this evil obstacle. Lin Doggy couldn't sleep, and Han Madgu fell asleep downstairs in the company while lying in the car with the heater on. After sleeping in the car for several hours, I opened my eyes in the morning and felt pain all over my body. I dragged my tired body into the company. No member of the general department had come yet. Han Qian prepared for today's work and then left. On the table in Yang Ian's office, he went to the gym. Just as he closed his eyes, Lin Zongheng called again. Han Qian answered the phone and frowned. Can you stop acting like a mentally ill child? Just give me half a month. My plan is almost completed. You're a big man. You don't have the endurance of that eunuch. No wonder when Nuan I don't like you, you are like a baby. If you call me while I am sleeping, I will keep you closed for 2 months. Han Qian. The loss is not my fault alone. How much my family loses is how much your father-in-law loses. My father-in-law treats me well, but your father-in-law's birth of a daughter will cause you trouble, just like your father. Han Qian's curse words were extremely damaging. Lin Zongheng gritted his teeth in anger and said angrily. Mad dog, where the hell are you? I'm sleeping in the Glory gym. Han Qian hung up the phone, closed his glasses and continued to sleep. After 5 minutes of sleep, the phone rang again, and Han Qian took a deep breath. Hi, hello. Mad dog Han, make an offer. Han Qian hung up the phone again and continued to sleep. This time, before Han Qian could close his eyes, the phone rang again, disturbing his sleep one after another. Han Qian got angry, answered the phone and cursed. Lin, you bastard, are you humming sick? Just give me a call and I will pee on your father's table today. Huh? Han Qian, you are so rude. Han Qian was stunned for a moment, took out his phone and glanced at the number on it, then frowned and asked. Who are you? The tone was full of disgust and doubt. The girl on the other side of the phone fell silent. Han Qian lay on the chair and frowned. Mute. Then I'll die. Now, does Han Qian want to get involved with any strange girl? He asked softly on the phone. Han Qian, I'm at Metro Park. Come pick me up. I'm going to your company. Who are you? I'm Wu Qingxi. If you don't answer, go play with your own eggs. Han Qian hung up the phone and turned it off immediately. He just wanted to sleep now. Members of the general department only came to the company at noon. Su Yang walked into the general department with a yawn and said confusedly. Morning. Yang Lan, who was wearing a red suit, handed the printed document to Su Yang and said softly. Han Qian left it in my office this morning. I can't find it now. Please divide the work. Su Yang took the document and asked softly. He didn't come home last night? I'm really worried that Han Qian will suddenly die one day. Hey. I'm going to work. Will Sister Yang have milk tea at noon today? Yes. I'll buy it for you. The current general department really makes Yang Lan feel comfortable. He doesn't have to worry about being disbanded, and no one is interfering in it. Such a harmonious working environment is what Yang Lan wants. Yang Lan left the general department, and Gao Zhuang leaned closer to Su Liang and whispered. Liang, I heard that Han Qian in our department has many beauties. Look, I'm still single. How about? Su Liang turned his head and grinned. You'd better forget it. Among the girls at Qian's side, the one with the lowest status is probably our weak Minister Ji. Gao Zhuang explained quickly. No, what I mean is, aren't you and Mr. Han very familiar with each other in the public relations department? Look at this. After saying this, Yao Shui slid over on the chair and smiled. Have you bought a house? Where's the car? Have you saved up enough of the bride price? Our general department doesn't have any bonus subsidies, and the entire company doesn't have overtime pay. Those little girls in the public relations department are very knowledgeable people, so be careful. No bones are left. Gao Zhuang raised his head and lamented. To die under peonies is to become a ghost. Okay, don't be romantic. Sister Shui, you have stimulated him. Although our general department does not have bonuses, Qian'er will apply for us. If Mr. Yan gives Han Qian a little leakage from his fingers, it will be enough for us. Gao Zhuang sighed again. You're full. Are you still hungry? You're showing off your watch. My watch? I grabbed it from Han Qian. Let's work. If we can't finish it, Mr. Yan will scold Han Qian. Sister Yang will scold us if she feels sorry for her brother. Even though Sister Yang is weak, it's scary to be angry. Work. Yang Ian's milk tea was brought back by de Qian'er. She distributed the milk tea to everyone, then strode towards Su Liang, placed a small red box on Su Liang's table, and returned to her place without saying a word, leaning on the table. Go to sleep. Su Liang opened the box and looked at the 2 diamond rings inside. He turned his head to look at Qianwan, who was catching up on his sleep. He smiled without saying anything or thanking her. But Su Liang had another decision in his mind. Yan Qingqing and Wen Nuan were looking for Han Qian throughout noon. Now that Wu Qingxi has arrived in the city, it stands to reason that they will prepare for cooperation in the afternoon, but a problem arose, and Wu Qingxi regretted it. She would bear any liquidated damages no matter how much. The reason was that Han Qian had offended her. Chang Xiang and Glory have already announced that the image ambassador of the community this time is national idol Wu Qingxi. When Nuan asked about the reason for the incident, and Wu Qingxi's answer was very honest. I only trust Han Qian and Xinghu in the city. I once encountered danger here, and it was Han Qian who resolved it, so I asked him to pick me up. Not only did he not come, but he said he was not who I was. Wen Nuan's head exploded when she heard this. She didn't doubt Wu Qingxi's lies at all, because Han Qian had this kind of character. He worked overtime very late last night and would definitely not be able to wake up during the day. With his temper and temperament, Wen was anxious, Yan Qingqing also anxious. Han Qian lost it? Yan Qingqing asked all the places where Han Qian could go, but was surprised to find no one. Finally, when the senior management went to the gym, he discovered that the little ancestor was sleeping here. Yan Qingqing came over with great momentum and grabbed him. Han Qian's collar was pulled downstairs. When he got downstairs, the red Romeo 4-leaf clover stopped in front of the main entrance of Glory. Yan Qingqing stuffed Han Qian into the back seat and sat in the passenger seat and asked, "How to deal with it?" Wen Nuan said lightly. Cai Qinghu has already gone to Wu Qingxi, and now she is forcing Han Qian to apologize. No matter how you say this, it is our problem. Wu Qingxi's current period is very full, and she never accepts endorsements randomly. This time she can cooperate with us, and by lowering the price to the lowest, it has already given us face. Don't worry about that stupid thing at the back. We will deal with him after the cooperation with Wu Qingxi is over. Okay. Also, can you train him properly? If you can't, I'll do it. You must be able to train me to understand that I don't mind, but I have to tell you the result in advance. You won't eat soft or hard stuff, don't eat oil and salt, you will agree quickly with your mouth, and what you do with your hands will be the opposite of what you said. Also, he's really naughty. With helplessness all over Nuan's face, Yan Qingqing turned her head and glanced at Han Qian, who was smoking, and frowned. Remember to talk nicely later. Oh. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Huan. Chapter 445. When they arrived at the hotel, Wu Qingxi was packing her luggage and preparing to return to the capital. It was useless for anyone to say anything. The warm-faced and cold butt incident happened 2 or 3 times. Wu Qingxi was very grateful to Han Qian for his protection at the Mid-Autumn Festival Gala. Every time, she put my position in a low position to communicate with Han Qian, but every time Han Qian was always indifferent. Not to mention a female star, even an ordinary girl couldn't stand it. Seeing Wu Qingxi about to leave, Wen Nuan and Yan Qingqing grabbed one of Han Qian's arms, pressed his head and forced him to apologize to Wu Qingxi. Cai Qinghu, who also came to persuade Wu Qingxi, kicked Han Qian's butt. With a pop, Han Qian knelt on the carpet. He immediately turned around and glared at Cai Qinghu. He found 3 girls glaring at him. Han Qian gave up on the spot and turned around and whispered, "Won't I come to pick you up? I wasn't in a bad mood this morning." "Yes. You are in a bad mood. You are the uncle. Can I go?" This time Wu Qingxi didn't even bother to salute and turned around to leave. Han Qian was busy hugging Wu Qingxi's calf and groaned, "If you leave, I will tear all 3 of them alive." Wu Qingxi quickly covered her skirt and said angrily, "You bastard, get away." This time, before Han Qian could speak, the 3 girls rushed forward and pushed Han Qian to the ground. Someone stepped on Han Qian's back. Han Qian's head felt heavy as he lay on the ground. He had felt a little uncomfortable on the way here, and now that he was making such a fuss, his head felt even heavier. Nuan reached out to grab Han Qian's ears, and then let out an exclamation. "Why is it so hot?" After saying this, Yan Qingqing quickly touched Han Qian's forehead and frowned. "He has a high fever. He didn't go home last night." Nuan looked anxious and frowned. "I stayed at my mother's house last night. I don't know. What time did he come to the company today?" Yan Qingqing's eyes were confused. "I don't know what time Wu Qingxi you called him." Wu Qingxi stopped making trouble, knelt down on the stall and tilted her head in confusion. It seemed that it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. When he called me, he thought I was Lin Zongheng, scolded me, and then said he wanted to go to sleep. After that, the phone was turned off. Yan Qingqing slapped her forehead. "It's over. He definitely didn't go home. He slept in the car and then went to the gym to catch up on his sleep. The fever shouldn't be a big problem. Send me to the office first." "Qingxi, don't be angry with Han Qian. He has been too tired recently. Yesterday after working overtime all night, I'm asking Xiao Yangjie to buy medicine, and I won't take any injections if I can. Why don't you take me to my office?" His ex-wife, "Can you eat this bowl of vinegar later? Han Qian is sick now." Nuan stopped talking, but she was still unconvinced. The 4 girls put Han Qian into the car and drove the 2 cars straight to the company. When they got off the car, Wen Nuan and Cai Qinghu supported Han Qian. Han Qian had no strength at all now. He ate something last night and was in the car. You slept, went to work without eating in the morning, and then slept in the gym all morning. It's strange that you have a cold and fever. But something was wrong when Chang Xiang's vice president helped Han Daxian to come to the company. But what was more surprising was that the popular actress and national lover Wu Qingxi came to the company. And it seems that he is also worried about Han Daxian's health. If it weren't for the intimidating power of Yan Qingqing and Han Qian in the company, these people would have rushed up to ask for autographs. Wu Qingxi walked into the elevator first, and the elevator went straight to the 14th floor, waiting until Han Qian was lying on the bed in Yan Qingqing's lounge. At that time, he didn't know how he got upstairs. Little Yang Jia went to buy medicine and hasn't come back yet. She stood at the door of the lounge with Nuan in her arms and frowned. Yan Hu, what are you doing with this lounge? Just tear it down, or I'll ask Han Qian to resign from your company. Yan Qingqing sat on the edge of the bed and wiped the sweat from Han Qian's forehead and replied without raising her head. I found that you really don't feel sorry for Han Qian and always care about those messy things. If Han Qian was the kind of person you think, he would be sleeping in the gym instead of lying here now. When Nuan was angry, frowned and said angrily. He was supposed to be resting at home yesterday. Who asked him to come over to work? Yang Lan, go and quarrel with Yang Lan. Yan Qingqing didn't even bother to look at Wen Nuan. At this moment, Yang Lan walked into the office with medicine and warm water in her hand. Listening to Yan Qingqing's words, she blamed herself and felt a little embarrassed, and said softly. Vice President Wen, I. Hearing the sound, he turned his head and Nuan gently shook his head at Yang Lan. It has nothing to do with you. I just want to quarrel with Yan Hu. Han Qian often mentions you to me. I have a very good impression of you. Please give me the medicine. Yang Lan trotted forward and handed the medicine to Wen Wen. When he looked at the medicine in his hand, Wen Wen was confused. It was both granules and oral liquid. How to drink this? How much to drink? How many drinks? Wen Nuan raised his head in confusion and handed the medicine to Cai Qinghu. Come here, I don't know how much to drink. In the past, Han Qian fed me the medicine I drank. Give you medicine? Cai Qinghu became jealous, turned his head and snorted coldly. I don't know either. He gave you medicine and he didn't give it to me either. Nuan frowned and said angrily. Why are you jealous at this time? Han Qian is sick. Have I ever taken these medicines? I don't know what medicine Han Qian is allergic to. As an ex-wife, you don't know if he is allergic to headshots? I don't know. Wait until I call my mother and ask her. While speaking, Yan Qingqing snatched the medicine from Nuan and said angrily. Just eat everything, why do you care so much? As he said this, he was about to give Han Qian the medicine. Han Qian, who was lying on the bed, heard the conversation between several girls in a daze, and kept his mouth closed and refused to speak. Yang Lan, who had been watching at the door, couldn't stand it anymore. He stepped forward to catch the pellets poured out by Yan Qingqing and said softly. Let me do it, you ladies have never taken care of anyone at first glance. Yang Lan took action, Han Qian finally relaxed, and Wen Nuan also spoke. I asked him if his hair is small. Han Qian is not allergic to any medicine. Just drink it down. I don't know what kind of medicine it was, but it was poured into his stomach. Han Qian felt his head heavy and fell into sleep in the middle of the night. Han Qian suddenly woke up, turned over and started to vomit. There was nothing in his stomach. Han Qian felt that his stomach was about to vomit. A handkerchief fell on Han Qian's mouth. Han Qian raised his head and looked at the woman who had not fallen asleep late at night, and shook his head gently. I'm fine, I'm a little hungry. The general department seems to have some instant noodles that I bought. You can go. Yan Qingqing gently helped Han Qian sit on the bed and spoke softly in the gentlest tone. Wait a minute, Cai Qinghu and Wen Nuan are outside. I'll ask them to bring them back to you. Drink some water first. Han Qian closed his eyes and sighed. My head is heavy and I don't want to drink water. How is the work in the general department? Has Wu Qingxi left? Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. Lin Zhonghong called you many times but didn't answer. Well, he probably can't handle the pressure anymore. It's warm now. You recover first. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 446. Vomited after eating. Han Qian came up stubbornly and vomited, right? Then he continued to look for food to fill his mouth, but it was useless to persuade him. Nuan did not try to persuade her at all. He also told several other girls that his stubborn temper was getting worse, and it was useless to persuade him. After struggling for more than 2 hours, Han Qian still had nothing in his stomach. He turned his head and said solemnly to Wen Nuan, "Go, buy me a bottle of glucose." Wen Nuan crossed his chest with one hand and took out his mobile phone to call his assistant. The little girl who had already rested ran to buy a bottle of glucose in the middle of the night and sent it to Glory. Han Qian took the glucose and raised his head to do it. Then he lay on the bed and closed his eyes. Rest. Cai Qinghu frowned, stared at Han Qian in disbelief, and said with a frown. He just drinks like this? What about drinking? Is Nuan like this at home? I don't know. When we were together, he paid great attention to his health. He went to bed early and got up early, and ate on time. After the divorce, he became like this desperate person. Now he basically doesn't wake up when he sleeps. What should we do? As he spoke, Wen Nuan sat beside Han Qian's bed and was about to lie down. As soon as he bent down, his head was dragged by Yan Qingqing, and she frowned. You still want to grab it? You squeezed Han Qian out of bed last time he was hospitalized. Come on. You and Qinghu can go back to sleep. I'll just take care of Han Qian here. Wen Nuan looked at Yan Qingqing suspiciously and said suspiciously. I think you want to take advantage of others' danger, right? Yan Qingqing pushed away the warmth and said disdainfully. You have nothing else in your mind except this, right? Then you stay and take care of me while I leave. Cai Qinghu was too lazy to pay attention to these two women and stretched himself. I'm leaving first. Qingxi is still waiting for me. There is a sofa outside. You two have had enough of it. Leave as soon as you say, leaving no mud or water behind. When Han Qian woke up the next morning, his stomach felt a little empty. He walked out of the lounge and looked at the two girls sleeping on the sofa. He didn't know what to say. Couldn't he stay in the hotel when he was sick yesterday? How? Is there an assassin in the hotel? Han Qian patted Yan Qingqing and motioned them to go to the lounge to rest and stop staying here. He sent Nuan to the company first. There were a lot of things going on there recently, so Nuan couldn't afford to be absent from work all of a sudden. Yan Qingqing stood up and touched Han Qian's forehead, then turned and walked to the lounge. She was really sleepy. Han Qian glanced at Wen Nuan. He squinted at Yan Qingqing's back and watched her walk into the lounge. Then he stretched out his arms to Han Qian and coquettishly asked Han Qian to hug her. As soon as he stretched out his hand, Yan Qingqing stood there. He said coldly to Wen Nuan at the door of the lounge. Just cut off the legs if you don't want them. Han Qian's head is still a little hot, so walk on by yourself. Yan Hu, your control is getting wider and wider. Wen Nuan put on her shoes and followed Han Qian to leave Glory. She wanted to drive, but Han Qian didn't agree. After getting in the car, he didn't leave in a hurry. It was only 8 o'clock. Han Qian found his mobile phone and called Yu Shisai first. Yu Shisai was very worried. Quickly answered the call and said softly. Nuan is taking a shower. I'll ask her to get back to you later. This sentence confused Han Qian. He turned his head and looked at Wen, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Wen frowned and gritted his teeth angrily. Han Qian and I are together. Oh. I thought Han Qian was anxious because you didn't go home last night. Tell me, Han Qian, what do you want from me? I'm telling you, don't try to push Wen Nuan away to go on a date with me. Our sisterly love is more precious than anything else. Strong. Listening to Yu Shisai's nonsense, Han Qian really didn't have the energy to talk to her now, so he covered his head and whispered softly. Let's get down to business. What's going on in your company's shopping mall now? What's the reaction from the top management and the board of directors? Oh. Yu Shisai said with a bit of disappointment in his voice. The senior management and the board of directors were very dissatisfied when they learned that Lin Zongheng had offended the Yamanmen and failed to handle the affairs of the mall. The profits that were passing by every day were huge. Lin Zongheng could not bear the pressure. He promised the board of directors that he would be responsible for these losses. People have to bear the responsibility, but the merchants are making a lot of noise. Han Qian was silent for a while, then started the car and said softly. You are now going to go to the company and tell the executives that Vice President Wen will hold an emergency meeting regarding the closure of the mall, and then contact the shareholders who support Wen and ask them to convene a board meeting to address Lin Zongheng's inability to solve the problem of the mall's opening. You let them ventilate first and tell them that Wen Nuan will take over the operation of the mall and solve the ceiling problem. Okay, I understand, I'll do it right now. Do you want to participate in the board of directors in the name of a warm husband? What am I going to do? Let the warmth go. Let's talk about it when we meet. Yu Shisai went to deal with the tasks assigned by Han Qian, and hung up the phone. Nuan grabbed Han Qian's arm with both hands, looked at him pitifully with her mouth suppressed, and whispered coquettishly. I took care of you all night last night, so you can go to the meeting instead of me. I'm most afraid of board meetings. Han Qian started the car and frowned. Then how have you been holding board meetings in the past few years? You don't say anything. No, I used to tell my elders or my secretary what I wanted to express. Besides, there was no Lin Zongheng before, so I just said what I wanted to say. It's a wonder you don't lose money. Marrying you is a miracle. Just go and I'll sit next to you while you talk. I'll watch and be a little puppet. Marionette. Han Qian felt a pain in his head. What happened to this girl? Think about Yan Qingqing and Wu Siquan. These two girls worked hard and climbed up. Why did something go wrong when they got to Nuan? She has resources, background, backing, and think tanks, but she just wants to be a rice insect? She has no intention of struggling at all. The envy in other people's eyes is like a burden to her. Fortunately, Nuan is not a boy. Han Qian drove to Changxiang and walked side by side with Wen Nuan in front of the staff of Changxiang. Those who had seen Han Qian were fine, but those who had never seen Han Qian were full of surprise. This was the mysterious husband of Vice President Wen. Why does it feel familiar? Walking into Wen Nuan's office, Yu Shisai was already there. It seemed that she had been waiting for a long time. Seeing Han Qian and Wen Nuan, Yu Shisai quickly stood up and threw a suit on the sofa to Han Qian. Change a set of clothes, my eldest lady. Did you come here without washing your face? There's still eye poop in your eyes. Let's go, let's wash up and put on your makeup. Han Qian, please change your clothes too. Over there at the board of directors, this means skipping high-level meetings and quickly resolving the issue of mall closures, but delaying the decision will have an impact on the company's reputation. Han Qian looked at the blue suit in his hand and said softly. Do you know what size I wear? Yushisai supported Wen Nuan and walked out the door. She turned her head and stuck out her tongue at Han Qian and licked the corners of her mouth. Recalling what happened at the resort, Han Qian couldn't help but tremble. In this sickly state, he actually had the slightest reaction. Has the power been broken? My mind is full of questions, but my heart is cursing nursery rhymes, waiting for me to catch you. How can it be done? After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 447. Han Qian put on a blue suit and a warm white women's suit. His hair was pulled up high and no longer hanging casually behind his back. The makeup on his face was a bit thick, and the color of his lips had also changed from the usual pink to bright red. The girl became a young woman. Yushisai admired his masterpiece and nodded with satisfaction. That's it? Just take Han Qian's arm and walk into the board of directors after a while. Just leave the rest to me. Wen Nuan nodded ignorantly, while Han Qian raised his hands and shouted. What? You really asked me to attend the board of directors? Are you crazy? I'm going to quarrel with Lin Zongheng. Yushisai took out a pair of glasses and handed them to Han Qian, saying softly. Now you are a gentle person and the husband of Vice President Wen. She is not feeling well today, and because of the incident in the company's shopping mall, her mouth ulcers are very serious, so today she wants you, the man who has been behind Vice President Wen's back. Come out to attend this meeting instead of Vice President Wen, and I want to tell you one more thing. Wen mostly holds high-level meetings, and there are very few board meetings. Han Qian ignored Yushisai, looked at Wen Nuan, and said softly. Open your mouth. Ah. It's a mouth ulcer. Wen Nuan kicked Han Qian's calf, and Yushisai looked at Han Qian helplessly and said. Suppose you understand? I have told the board members who support us that today Vice President Wen's husband will come to the meeting instead of Vice President Wen. Don't embarrass Wen Nuan. From now on, Nuan Wen will just nod, shake your head, or, frown, don't say a word. If it doesn't work, open your mouth and cover your mouth as if you are in pain. Then Nuan made an action that Yushisai wanted. Yushisai nodded with satisfaction. The two girls high-fived in celebration. Han Qian covered his head and sat on the sofa and started to recharge himself. The board of directors. Han Qian had participated in the informal board of directors. Han Qian didn't understand the serious board of directors at all. He sent a text message to his father-in-law asking what the rules of the board of directors were. His father-in-law's answer made Han Qian full of confidence. The rules of fart are that a group of guys who don't curse try to curse in every possible way. It's actually quite good if you don't have this kind of self-confidence. It was almost time, and the warm little secretary came over to inform the directors and the president that they had arrived. Wen Nuan and Lin Zongheng are the heirs of the two competing factions of the previous generation. Everyone in the company is watching their every move. Not to mention the board of directors, there are high-level meetings. Some directors will also go to inquire about what's going on. One wrong step may lead to wrong steps. Han Qian stood up and took a deep breath. Wen Nuan took Han Qian's arm and smiled sweetly. When he walked out of the door, Wen Nuan noticed something was wrong with Han Qian and asked softly. Nervous? Han Qian nodded. It's a lie to say I'm not nervous. What should I do if something goes wrong? Wen Nuan wiped the sweat from Han Qian's forehead and said softly. What are you afraid of? I won't blame you. Han Qian took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. This is not a question of whether it is strange or not. If I fail to convince the board of directors, my plan against Lin Zongheng will fail. The government office will not be able to withstand the pressure from the merchants. If it weren't for me. Can you stop nagging? Han Qian shut up. Yushisai, who was walking behind him, looked at Han Qian and Wen Nuan, his eyes full of envy. Yushisai had a weird idea. She didn't want to have any relationship with Han Qian, she just wanted a good gene. After so many years of selection, she found that the most handsome men are those who are responsible and responsible. While talking, he stepped forward and gently dusted off the wrinkles of Han Qian's suit, tugged on the warm hem, and Yu Shisai said softly, "How about I go and be the master of ceremonies for you when you two get married?" Han Qian said softly, "Can you?" "No, but I want to stand at the nearest position to witness your wedding. It's here. Get ready." Yu Shisai was really like a master of ceremonies. Han Qian and Wen Nuan looked at Yu Shisai pushing open the wooden door of the meeting room. They really felt like they were walking into a wedding hall. Wen Wenwen gently bumped into Han Qian. Whispered, "Should there be petals falling down at this time?" Han Qian scratched his head naively and smiled. "I've never been married, so I don't know." "Death, this is not a wedding, it's a battlefield. It's a bloodless battlefield. Whether I can come out safely depends on you, a man." At this time, people on the board of directors had already seen Han Qian and Wen Nuan. Han Qian took a deep breath, walked into the board of directors, and sat in the position of the vice president of Wen Wen. Han Qian smiled, there were really acquaintances here. Zhang Xian was sitting on the left side of Han Qian. Some of them looked familiar, but they couldn't name them. Han Qian didn't know them, but these guys knew Han Qian. In many circles of the upper class, Han Qian's name was no longer unfamiliar. He suddenly stirred up the tranquility of the city. This young junior is not an ordinary person. In addition, there are people who have experienced the Mid-Autumn Festival party here. When they saw Han Qian standing outside the door in a suit and leather tie, they remembered the man who dragged two gangsters to the second floor covered in blood that night and shot Feng Lun twice. Suit. Thug. It's Han Qian. Han Qian discovered something. The last time he was in glory, he was sitting in a similar position. It was a long table. The only warm seat was due west. Sitting due east was Lin Zongheng. Next to him was his fiancée Luo Shen. Yu Shisai, who was Wen Nuan's assistant, spoke softly. "Everyone, my vice president Wen has been working day and night to solve the company's troubles. She is physically and mentally exhausted. Last night, she stayed up until dawn to solve the company's troubles and could not rest. She is ill and uncomfortable to speak, so she specially asked her husband Han Qian to Mr. Wen will attend today's board meeting on behalf of Vice President Wen." Feeling uncomfortable in the warm body? Lin Zongheng's brows furrowed, Zhang Xian turned sideways and whispered to the warm body. Yu Shisai paused, picked up the document in her hand and whispered. "Mr. Han Qian is involved in many fields. The military uniform world of Changxiang Group was independently planned by Mr. Han Qian and handed over to Vice President Wen. He is now the leader of the Liancheng planning team. The company's hospital is also led by Mr. Han Qian. Guiding the direction to Vice President Wen behind the scenes, and another. Mr. Han Qian is now employed by an external employee at Honor, and is deeply trusted by the Honor Group. Now the Honor Home Plaza under the name of the Honor Group is a perfect plan that Mr. Han Qian made in 2 days, and it is also Mr. Han obtained the land in Dongcheng for Changxiang Group and promoted the cooperative relationship between Changxiang and Glory Group. In addition, Ms. Wu Qingxi, a popular actress in the entertainment industry, and Mr. Han Qian are good friends and took time out of her busy schedule to be the spokesperson for the Liancheng Group's plan. And lastly, a little gossip, Vice Director Wen once wanted Mr. Han Qian to take over the position of Vice Director of the company, but Mr. Han Qian refused. The series of identities and deeds made Han Qian feel a little embarrassed. Nuan and Zhang Xian, who were chatting in low voices, also looked at Han Qian, and Zhang Xian exclaimed softly. "Xiao Nuan, your little husband is quite powerful, isn't he?" Nuan lowered his head and whispered. "I wouldn't have known that he had done so many things without mentioning it in the poem." Is he marrying the right person? Good taste. While the two women were talking, someone from Lindang on the board of directors spoke up. Assistant Yu, what you said has nothing to do with the troubles the company is encountering. What we care about is whether we can solve the troubles we are encountering now. As soon as these words came out, both Yu Shisai and Han Qian laughed, and Lin Zongheng's expression instantly turned gloomy. Han Qian started scheming again, and yesterday's phone call was just a scheming. Calculate whether he is in a hurry now. Got hummed again. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 448. Passive. Playing dumb and then slapping them in the face? Childish. Han Qian took the initiative and smiled. I deeply sympathize with what your company is going through. If my wife hadn't been tortured to the point of eating and sleeping poorly because of this incident, I, an outsider, would not have come to attend the Changxiang board of directors. After the words fell, Lin Zongheng said angrily. You and Nuan are divorced. The board of directors was in an uproar when the words came out. Han Qian squinted at Lin Zongheng and said softly. You just got remarried yesterday, what's up, okay. You sit quietly for a while, I don't have time to talk to you, just like you called me more than 20 times yesterday and I didn't answer it. There was another uproar. These two pieces of news surprised them so much. Could this Han Qian really solve this problem? Then they discovered that young Master Lin really stopped talking. This. Han Qian crossed his legs and said softly. I know a little bit about the troubles your company has encountered. The reason is very simple. Years ago, the fire protection and sanitation departments conducted random inspections in various companies and shopping malls. I remember that the Yamanmen seemed to be very dissatisfied with a few companies. Right? Especially Honor and Changxiang. Honor Group's Honor Department Store Video Game Center has been shut down as early as 2 years ago, and the catering has also been shut down. There is no fire safety problem, and Changxiang has been vaguely named once. But I still haven't corrected it. I don't know who among you is in charge of the operation of the shopping mall. I only know that if you don't give the Yamanmen any face, the Yamanmen will shut down your business. Everyone knows the principle of killing a chicken to scare the monkeys. After finishing speaking, Han Qian looked at Zhang Xian and smiled. Aunt Xian, are you right? Zhang Xian nodded lightly. What she supported was warmth. No matter what Han Qian said, she would nod. Han Qian turned to the board members who were about to speak and spoke softly. I'll talk about the stakes first. Listen, if what I say makes sense, then continue. If it doesn't make sense, just say it doesn't make sense. Now the merchants are making trouble, and they have suffered huge losses. Changxiang has lost more than just money. Simple, if it is delayed in opening, and some merchants withdraw their capital, they may go to the Yamenkao to cause trouble. You don't think that the merchants go to the Yamenkao to cause trouble for you? No matter how big Changxiang is, they are still businessmen. It's no bigger than a government office, it's easy for them to put on small shoes for you. I heard that Cheng Jin is not a generous guy. If Cheng Jin knew about this, Han Qian would inevitably be dragged into exercising by Chang. Whether merchants are withdrawing their investment or causing trouble, they are all damaging the reputation of the group. In the future, some people will inevitably think, can't I go to Changxiang Mall? What if the mall is closed? Then the merchants will be empty, and the mall will be empty. But it has become an empty shell, and it will be too difficult to make a comeback. Successfully transforming one military world does not mean that it can succeed in the second one, right? At this time, someone from the Lin party spoke. We all know what you said. You don't need to remind us. Our board of directors doesn't care about the process. We only care about the results. Anyone can talk nonsense. The Wen party member was about to refute, but Han Qian hurriedly stretched out his hand to comfort this person and smiled at the Lin party member. What you said makes sense, but I want to say that in fact, my wife is not responsible for the operation of the mall, but she doesn't want to open it now. In fact, closing the mall is very good for her. After all, this is Mr. Lin's responsibility, right? Since everyone wants to be direct, I will not be confused. The operation and management of the mall will be handed over to Vice President Wen. Vice President Wen promises to open the mall tomorrow. If the mall does not open tomorrow morning, forget it. Today is the day. At noon, the seal will be removed and the mall will be open, and the gas can be changed during the business period. If it does not open after 12 noon, my Wen family will give 10% of the shares to you. Han Qian looked at Lin Zongheng with provocative eyes. I bet you want to save face. I can't bear to tell you that you, the Lin party, are the ones who offended me, and it's me who won't let you open for business. You are a high-ranking young master, and I am a young man from the countryside. Furthermore, do you dare to say that Cheng Jin engaged in malpractice for personal gain? Cheng Jin's petty thing can chase you home and have sex with you. I bet you don't want to say it and don't dare to say it. Also, Han Qian's bait was too big. It's already 10 o'clock, and there are only 2 hours left for the mall to open for business. The Lin party members didn't believe it, but Lin Zongheng's expression turned extremely grim, and he gritted his teeth and whispered. Han Qian, this is our internal matter and we don't need you to come over to solve it. Han Qian shrugged, looking indifferent. Then your shopping mall will be closed for half a month, or maybe a month. Your Lin family can bear the losses, but our Wen family doesn't want to play with you. If this continues, our Wen family won't mind proposing to remove the chairman. Request, after all, no one wants to follow a chairman whose personal grievances have affected the income of the company's shareholders and directors. After all, during the period when my wife was managing the company alone, Changxiang Group never suffered a loss, not even for a moment. Otherwise, can you tell me why the mall closed? It depends on whether you, Lin Zongheng, are still shameless and dare to say it. There are 2 ways for you. The first is to tell everyone that it was me, Han Qian, who caused the mall to close, and there is nothing you can do about it. The second is easier. You consider yourself incompetent and hand over the operation and management rights. Come out to give me warmth. You Lin Zongheng think you are not capable enough. No matter which path, it would be difficult for Lin Zongheng to take it. If he didn't give it, the board of directors wouldn't be able to explain it, and if it were given to him, it wouldn't be able to explain it. No matter how you go, it's a dead end. Now there is only one way. You hand it over to the market and let your supporters continue to make money. Han Qian narrowed his eyes and smiled. Master Lin won't let a closed shopping mall affect everyone's ability to make money, right? Only when everyone makes money can there be harmony. Your Lin family has a strong family background, while others have to support their wives and children. Don't you think so? The Wen party faction has understood and expressed their agreement one after another. They are right. Lin Zongheng was still in a stalemate. After waiting for a long time, Zhang Xian spoke. In that case, the old rule is to vote anonymously and let assistant you prepare. Yu Shisai turned on the big screen. The members of the board of directors put their hands under the table. Han Qian reached out and touched it and found 2 buttons under the table. Changxiang is very good at playing, so no one will be offended. Han Qian was full of confidence in himself. Said softly. Assistant Yu, go print the contract. Everyone can see the voting results. Lin Zongheng left the meeting room angrily. The result had nothing to do with him. He was not yet able to deny the decision of the board of directors. It was already 11 o'clock after the board of directors' decision was signed, and the management and operation rights of the mall were transferred to Nuan's hands. Seeing this, Han Qian pulled Nuan to stand up and said softly, "Daughter-in-law, it's time to solve the problem." When Nuan stood up, nodded with a smile, and said softly, "Okay. Assistant Yu, take people to the mall." Han Qian and Wen Nuan walked out, and Han Qian took out his mobile phone and called Cheng Jin. "Lao Cheng, did I break the seal of Changxiang? Let me tell you, in return, I will go to your house for a casual meal. Roll. I asked Lu Guangming to donate 1,000 computers, 500 sets of desks and chairs, and some books to schools in impoverished mountainous areas of the city. I'm in the office at the Yamen Gate. I have 2 bowls of instant noodles. Changxiang Group builds dormitories for volunteer teachers. I'll tell the cafeteria to cook some vegetarian dishes. Icon Urban Construction sent some beef and mutton, healthcare products, a change of clothes, bedding, and daily medicines to nursing homes in the city. Come on, drink and drink. I've been watching this kid like you since you were a kid." Is it difficult for Cheng Jin to attract sponsorship? It's not difficult, but at this juncture, he doesn't dare to solicit sponsorship, but he still wants sponsorship. "Cheng Jin? Brother, I can touch you clearly." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 449. Sure enough, before 12 noon, Nuan and Yu Shisai tore off the seal, and the mall could open normally. Lin Zongheng was almost mad to death when he received the news. After this matter is over, there will definitely be someone in the company who is behind his back. The last sentence that President Lin made was just an empty statement. Lin Zongheng was sitting on the sofa with his eyes closed, his legs resting on the coffee table. Luo Shen, who was standing beside him, was chattering incessantly. Lin Zongheng got a little annoyed and slapped the coffee table and roared, "Are you annoyed? I told you a long time ago not to threaten Han Qian. Now he has a lot of power in the Yamen. He doesn't listen over and over again. What's the matter? Do you think you are more threatening than Feng Lun? I am now. It's very annoying. You should go home first. You're driving me away." There was disbelief in Luo Shen's eyes, and Lin Zongheng waved his hand straightforwardly. "Yes. I'll drive you away. Lin Zongheng, don't regret it." Luo Shen left Lin Zongheng's office with his leather bag, and slammed the door when he went out. Lin Zongheng looked at the door with a sneer on his lips. "Now your Luo family can't help me at all. Why do I still respect you so much? Moreover, neither Han Qian nor Lu Shenga would agree to let your Luo family's business be located in the city. If it weren't for your good performance in bed, I would have told you to break up. Fiancé, you are not married, you can still get divorced after getting married." Then Lin Zongheng thought of Han Qian and Wen Nuan. Damn it! What the hell? If the operation and management of a shopping mall made Lin Zongheng furious, then he would be looking down upon him. Now that he couldn't deal with Han Qian, he could call Lu Shenga and use this bereaved dog to vent his dissatisfaction. Then Lu Shenga was driven away angrily by Lin Zongheng. He is going back. One thing brings down another thing. Han Qian, Wen Nuan, Yu Shisai and others stood at the entrance of the mall, looking at the merchants who rushed to open their doors after hearing the news. Han Qian stretched and yawned lazily. "You guys should be busy here. Remember not to offend Cheng Jin too much at this juncture. If you can do good things, do good things. If you can make him owe you a favor, you owe him favors. It doesn't cost much to build a dormitory with a few colored steel plates. Look at Nuan. Just keep doing it. I'll leave first." When Nuan nodded lightly and allowed Han Qian to leave. Han Qian did not go to Cheng Jin. He went there too often and always felt that he was not so valuable. Cheng Jin said that he should not take it seriously after taking 2 sips. He is very busy now, busy. In order to clear up the handle that Han Qian has, this old guy is not as simple as it seems. Besides, a person sitting in his position will not be willing to be taken advantage of. Went back to Glory to pick up the car and drove home to sleep. This is business. I went home and drank the medicine, took off my clothes and went to bed. When I woke up, the warmth had returned. I was sitting on the first floor talking on the phone with nursery rhymes. Most of my words were about missing nursery rhymes. After all, these are my only friends. The other half is missing the nursery rhyme cooking. Han Qian suppressed his composure and calmly went downstairs and sat next to Nuan Nuan. He listened to the voice on the phone with his ears pricked up. The nursery rhyme seemed to have not changed much, and he heard that the meaning of the words seemed to be ready to come back. He would continue to be a teacher. Be a tutor for high school seniors. Return. Han Qian coughed lightly and asked knowingly. Teacher Tong is coming back. She still owes me money. Nuan Nuan turned his head and looked sideways at Han Qian, scolded him for being a stingy man, and then continued talking nonsense with nursery rhymes. They had been chatting on the phone for who knows how long. Finally, Nuan Nuan's phone ran out of battery, and they hung up the phone reluctantly. Then Nuan Nuan let out a mournful cry. Lying on the sofa, resting his head on Han Qian's legs, he sighed. When will the nursery rhymes come back? Now there is no one who wants to go out to play. Poetry is all about work, work, work. When I go out with you, I have to meet those vixens again. I miss the nursery rhymes. Han Qian pinched his chin and said casually. Well, I'm thinking about nursery rhymes too. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt pain in the soft flesh of his waist, and Han Qian quickly explained. I haven't finished yet. I said I also want the money that nursery rhyme owes me. Have you had dinner tonight? I ate, and I ate outside with poems. When I talk about eating, I think of nursery rhymes even more. No. I have to find a way to get it back for her, otherwise I will definitely starve to death if you don't cook for me. Can you stop thinking about eating? It's about the company. Stop, 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 I don't live with my parents just because I don't want to be nagged by them. Mr. Han, please shut up. Isn't this the same for me? I'm going to bed. I won't disturb you, and you don't disturb me either. Both times he spoke, he was interrupted by this girl. Han Qian didn't bother to talk anymore. After watching TV for a while, he found that the girl returned to the second floor without any movement. Han Qian couldn't help but feel a little worried. He went upstairs and opened the door. Han Qian sighed as he looked at the sleeping girl with the quilt under her arms. How could she be so heartless? Han Qian is thoughtful and has high demands on himself, while Wen Nuan is carefree and has no demands on himself. Then these two people got together. Complementary. Can't the powerful join forces? Han Qian didn't know that if powerful forces joined forces, or if Wen Nuan had a different personality, he would never survive now. It's another weekend, but unfortunately neither of them has a holiday. Han Qian received a call from Yang Lan early. Today, he will take the merchants to the mall to check out the location, sign the contract, and withdraw a wave of funds first. Nuan Nuan is going to deal with the compensation issue for Changxiang department store merchants who have been closed for more than half a month today. The divorced couple drove out of the community. At their respective intersections, the two cars stopped side by side in front of the red light. Han Qian lowered the window and said softly. I'm going to the airport. Nuan Nuan replied softly. I'm going to Central Street. Let's have lunch together. No, I'm too lazy to look at Yan Hu. I'm leaving first. Bye. Be safe, wear your seat belt, and don't talk on the phone while driving. Too lazy to listen to Han Qian's ramblings, Romeo Clover hit the accelerator and sped away. 30 seconds later, the Panamera turned right and drove away like a snail. Within a few minutes, a text message came from Han Qian's mobile phone. There is no yan ching ching to eat with. Texting while driving? Han Qian was in the mood to hit someone, so he frowned and replied. Don't bring use poems with you, let's eat, we want to eat Korean food. Speaking. The text messages were basically replied in seconds, and Han Qian stopped replying, for fear that the girl would take her hands off the steering wheel, but Han Qian called Tong Yao and was still blacklisted. What on earth was this monster thinking? Han Qian is now very worried about whether nursery rhyme girl will be pregnant, and will bring a little Han Qian back then. Han Qian couldn't imagine that scene. But I was still a little worried. I picked up another phone that was also blocked and sent a text message by mistake. Have you taken birth control pills? Stupid poor. Looking at the text message that came back, Han Qian parked the car and spent 5 or 6 minutes editing a short composition and sent it. Message failed to send. Han Qian's mentality was shattered. There was nothing he could do about this monster. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 450. As Yang Lan and Sul Yang walked around the mall with the merchants who were about to move in, Han Qian's head was filled with confusion as he kept thinking about the nursery rhyme text message. Stupid poor. What does this mean? Does it mean that he knew it or simply didn't want to eat it? Han Qian raised his head and said suddenly. Sister Yang, do you think the monster's brain is different from the human brain? How are their brain circuits structured? Is there any rationale? Yang Lan, who was introducing the location and price of the store to the merchants, was slightly stunned after hearing this. Then he naturally stretched out his hand to touch Han Qian's forehead and said softly. It's still a little hot. You should rest first. No, Sister Yang, I'm fine. Have a rest. I do not. I said you can rest. Han Qian caught a hint of danger in Yang Ian's eyes and tone. Han Qian stopped in place and waited for Yang Lan to lead the people away before turning around and walking out of the mall. The wind blew on his face, and Han Qian thought of the shame he had just done. Things. Shameful. Holding his hair with both hands, he squatted on the steps of the front door. The workers coming and going looked at Han Qian with strange eyes. What happened to this old man? Now in Yang Ian's mind, Han Qian's brain was burned out, and he began to stop doing his job. Instead of studying the shopping mall check-in, he started studying the brain circuits of monsters. Yang Lan didn't look for Han Qian all morning, and Han Qian didn't dare to go in to look for Yang Lan. He spent the whole morning in a daze at the small door of the fire escape on the first floor of the mall. Fortunately, a kind-hearted worker gave him a chair. A red Romeo 4-leaf clover flashed across Han Qian's sight. Han Qian slapped his forehead, stood up and talked to himself. Anyway, I won't be embarrassed once or twice. If anyone dares to laugh at me, I will beat him and go eat. Walking towards Xiao Hong, opening the passenger door and looking at Yu Shisai sitting in the passenger seat, Han Qian frowned and said in a deep voice. What are you doing here? Go and sit in the back. Yu Shisai, who was wearing thin clothes, curled her lips, patted her beautiful legs, and said softly. Come on, sit on me, I'll be right behind you. Then you'd better be in front. Sigh, gangster. After closing the car door, Han Qian got in the car. Han Qian was quarreling with Yu Shisai along the way, and Wen Nuan didn't interrupt while driving. They didn't help each other and allowed his best friend to quarrel with her ex-husband. I have to say that this girl is really big-hearted. There is really nothing to eat with Korean food. Nuan and Yu Shisai unanimously decided to eat Japanese food. Han Qian objected, but it was of no use. Han Qian was very satisfied with the food served. There was even rice. Wen Nuan picked up a piece of sashimi and handed it to Han Qian. Han Qian held the bowl and dodged, and Wen Nuan curled his lips and whispered. It tastes delicious with a little vinegar and mustard. Why don't you like it? Han Qian ate his rice and said vaguely. Compared to this thing, I prefer the affordable steamed pork belly with minced garlic. How is the customer flow in the mall on weekends? Nuan ignored Han Qian and Yu Shisai spoke. Judging from the data, there are about 20% more people than during the Chinese New Year every year. As for the sales amount, there is no statistics yet. After all, half of the mall is a store and half is self-operated. Han Qian, what kind of furniture did you use to build this furniture plaza? What's the business model? Han Qian, who had been unloading his chopsticks on an unknown dish, replied calmly. Rent collection, bathroom on the first floor, ceramic tiles, flooring on the first floor, wooden doors, ecological wood, tatami mats, wardrobes, cabinets, lamps, etc. on the second floor. The third floor is rented out as a whole. It should be rented to people who want to buy furniture. Yu Shisai frowned after hearing it. Don't make home appliances. Han Qian shook his head. If we don't do it, we won't be able to do the home appliances building on Central Road. Then if we build a shopping mall across from Your Honor Home Plaza and also sell home furnishing materials, and rent the entire business to Easy Home, Xingyu Home Furnishing, etc., do you think there is a future? I don't have any opinion. As soon as he finished speaking, Han Qian found Wen Nuan bulging his mouth and glaring at him with wide eyes. Han Qian sighed helplessly, put down the bowl and said helplessly. I don't recommend that you compete with Honor Furniture Plaza in the short term. This plan I made will not have any rivals within 5 years, and everyone will die. Yu Shisai also put down his chopsticks, took a pen and paper and looked at Han Qian and asked seriously. Reason? Han Qian frowned and said angrily. You came here to learn from me. Yu Shisai narrowed his eyes and smiled evilly. It has been taken out once, and it may still be in the stomach now. Rogue. Absolute gangster. Why don't all the big girls know how to be ashamed? I don't know whether Yu Shisai was ashamed or not. What he knew was that Han Qian was embarrassed. He gritted his teeth and glared at Yu Shisai. If possible, he wanted to sue Yu Shisai. Attempted rape. Nuan bumped Han Qian's shoulder and frowned. Hurry up and say it, Yan Qingqing is not here, and your loyalty is useless. Han Qian took a deep breath and whispered. First of all, we got the land at the airport cheaply. It's no different from picking it up for free. You can't get this land at such a low price across the road or around the Honor Furniture Plaza. This is the matter with your hospital land. You can feel it when you go up. Yu Shisai nodded, wrote it down on the paper, and Nuan ate heartlessly. Han Qian said again. In the future, you will not be able to meet building materials merchants like Tu Xiao who are eager to transform. Of course, you can build it yourself. By the time you finish the construction, the reputation of our Honor Home Plaza will have been established. What will you do to attract investment then? It's a mess. It's almost like Honor is already in junior high school. The shopping mall you built is a newly weaned child. There is no way to make up for this gap, because the building materials brand agent will not have 2 brands in one city, nor will there be 2. Good agency brands should stay in your mall. While Han Qian was talking, Yu Shisai was memorizing it. When Han Qian finished speaking, Yu Shisai also finished memorizing it. Looking at his own records on the paper, Yu Shisai raised his head and narrowed his eyes at Han Qian. I understand, you are planning to monopolize some high-end, famous brands. Even if no one is an agent, Your Honor will let people get agents and not give other competitors a chance. Even if the competitors have shopping malls, they will not have brands. It can be used, right? You are in a ruthless business. As a man, you cannot be so ruthless, but it is very suitable for a girl like me. Get out of here and don't ask me again. Nuan, your dear ex-husband is hiding something secret. If you teach me, you will teach you. Look at him. Wen Nuan raised her head and stared at Han Qian with her bulging cheeks. Looking at Wen's cute look, Han Qian couldn't help pinching Han Qian's face. Wen quickly covered her mouth and put her little fist on Han Qian's chest. Critical hits again and again. Wen Nuan swallowed the food in his mouth and grabbed Han Qian's ears with both hands. Han Qian quickly raised his hands to cover his forehead with such skill that it made people feel distressed. Seeing this, Nuan Wen let go of Han Qian and said lightly, Wu Qingxi has already decided to start shooting commercials and other messy things in the past few days. She will attend the groundbreaking ceremony on Saturday night a week later, and then hold it together with members of the Liancheng team and the heads of the two companies in the evening. It's a party, and there will be a reporter and paparazzi coming to take pictures, so be careful and don't hug someone else's lap. Han Qian curled his lips and replied, If I don't go, nothing will happen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Huan. Chapter 451. In the afternoon, Yang Lan took Han Qian and Sul Yang back to the company. In just one morning, more than a dozen contracts had been signed. Han Qian had foresight, and so did these business people. The storefronts on the second floor corridor were almost the same. All have been rented out. Yang Lan also took the initiative and gave them a discount. Each of these stores is 60 square meters. If they choose to buy, they can be given a price of 1.5 million. If they rent, the price is 130,000 a year and 40,000 per season, but the rent may increase in the future. Yang Lan promised that in the future, the price of a single 60 square meter store will reach 200,000 yuan per year, or even more. The price of the store behind the Ring Corridor store will be much lower, 130,000 yuan for the first household, and 130,000 yuan for the second household. The annual rent for each household is around 80,000 yuan, and then the rent for each household is reduced by 10,000 yuan. In the car, Yang Lan asked Han Qian if this was okay. Han Qian smiled and said yes, and he would definitely not lose money. Yang Lan put the document on Yan Qingqing's desk. After reading it, Yan Qingqing stood up and exclaimed. On the first day, the withdrawal funds exceeded 1 million. Yang Lan nodded and said softly. This is just the beginning. I believe that the funds in the future will be recovered very quickly. It will be possible to recover the capital in almost 2 years. Everything after that will be profits. I firmly believe that. Her tone was full of confidence, and Yan Qingqing's brows were filled with joy. The mall she had been worried about for a long time finally failed to disappoint her and brought unexpected surprises. Han Qian on the side rubbed his hands and laughed. Mr. Yan, I am the hero, but, you see, my money is a bit tight. The guy's thumb and index finger rubbed against each other. Yan Qingqing took out her wallet, counted 2,000 yuan, put it on the table, and said softly. You have no money in your hand again? I remember when you came back from your hometown, didn't you still have some money in your hand? Didn't I give you 200,000 when you came home? Han Qian looked at the $2,000 on the table and whispered. What I mean is, the bonus, I'll save some money and pay off the money I owe Wen Nuan first. No, I gave your bonus to my aunt. What does the money you owe Wen Nuan have to do with me? Then you get my bonus. Bang. A baseball bat fell on the table, and Han Qian gave Yan Qingqing a thumbs up. Well done. You should give it to my mother. I'm not good at giving away money. I'll leave first. Before leaving, Han Qian did not forget to take away the 2,000 yuan on the table. What kind of freeloader is there? The 2,000 yuan that my brother earned through hard work in half a year. Just treat it as salary. Since coming here to work, Han Qian seems to have never received a salary. Doesn't he have to pay for firewood, rice, oil, and salt? Does the car drink water? After Han Qian left, Yan Qingqing asked softly. Yang Lan, Han Qian gave you 10,000 yuan, right? Yang Lan nodded slightly after hearing this. Yes. And Sul Yang, right? Yes. Then there will be no bonus for you two this time. You can go to the finance department and give 5,000 yuan to Lu Zhuolong later. He was also busy working overtime that night. Lu Zhuolong is very useful in the general department. I'll go right away. Bai Bei is okay. Fine. Go ahead. After Yang Lan left, Yan Qingqing called Nuan Nuan. The content was simple and clear. Han Qian helped me, Yan Qingqing, make money. Are you angry or not? If Han Qian were here, he would understand why Yan Qingqing and Wenwen were able to cooperate after they had a quarrel. These two girls are really childish sometimes. When Han Qian was waiting for the elevator to go downstairs, he met Cai Qinghu and Wu Qingxi. Wu Qingxi looked at the 2,000 yuan in Han Qian's hand and wondered. What? Did you come to greet me with money? Han Qian tilted his head and said doubtfully. Why are you still here? Are you not going back to the capital? I told you that you wouldn't understand. The $2,000 is your compensation to me. I won't argue with you. While talking, Wu Qingxi suddenly snatched the cash from Han Qian's hand. Now Han Qian became anxious. He glared at Wu Qingxi and was about to grab the money. Seeing that the two were about to fight, Cai Qinghu quickly stretched out his hand to stop Han Qian. Holding Han Qian behind her, Wu Qingxi asked Wu Qingxi to find Yan Qingqing first. Han Qian, who had his money taken away, was very unhappy. He looked at Wu Qingxi's jumping back and said resentfully. I haven't warmed up yet. Cai Qinghu hugged Han Qian's waist, and the two of them walked to Yan Qingqing's office like conjoined twins. Cai Qinghu never cared what others thought of her. Anyway, she was tall and couldn't see those dwarfs chewing their tongues. Then he felt a little uncomfortable, so he let go of Han Qian's waist, hugged his arm, stretched out his hand and pinched his face, smiling. What's the matter? 2,000 yuan makes you unhappy? If you don't quarrel with Xiaoluo Sier, I will make up for it later. Han Qian whispered back. It's not about the money, it's about the money that I haven't covered my head with yet, Qinghu. Let Wu Qingxi go, I get a headache when I see her. No, little La Bossy can't leave now. We have to shoot promotional posters and the like in the next few days. The two of us are here today. Xiaoluo wants to return a favor to you and ask if your Honor Furniture Plaza needs it. She shows her face and doesn't ask for money. Cheap but not good, with ulterior motives. Okay, why is this big man so petty? Come on, have a piece of candy. Cai Qinghu took out a white rabbit toffee and handed it to Han Qian. Han Qian tore off the wrapping paper and stuffed it into his mouth, wondering. Why did you buy this candy too? Cai Qinghu chuckled. I got it from Aunt Ji. She has a lot of it in her drawer. Indeed, it's quite a lot. I didn't know until the last time I went there. My Aunt Ji, what should I do? And what are you busy with these days? I can't even see you. Miss me? Cai Qinghu was overjoyed at the yes. He held Han Qian's shoulders and took a step forward. Then he turned around and looked Han Qian in the eyes and said seriously. Ms. Sir, do you miss me? Han Qian smiled and nodded. Well, I missed you. Really, you didn't bother me. No, if I'm perfunctory with you, I might as well not say anything at all. Then kiss me. This request. Han Qian scratched his head, slightly embarrassed, and said softly. Isn't this not good, in public? Cai Kinghu looked around and said softly. No one. There is surveillance. Looking at Han Jian's mother-in-law, Cai Kinghu frowned and said angrily. Why am I having an affair with you? You are single, and I am also single. Where did your ability to forcefully kiss me go when you drank too much? Han Jian, are you a man? The last sentence stimulated Han Jian's heart. He stretched out his hand to hold Cai Kinghu's pretty face and gently pecked her lips. A lot of things happened between the two of them. Although they did not break through the defense line and did not confirm the relationship between men and women, something did happen between them. Han Jian saw all of Cai Kinghu's body. Cai Kinghu held Han Jian's neck tightly and responded enthusiastically. The two kissed passionately. A sudden voice came to mind. What are you two doing? Lady Yasha. She forgot about Han Jian. Han Jian wanted to end it, but Cai Kinghu held his neck tightly, as if he was deliberately provoking Yan Qingqing. At this time, another soft and waxy voice came. Xiaohu, you can't do this. Let me teach you. I have experience and have learned it specifically. I fell asleep. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 452. Han Jian broke free from Cai Kinghu's arms, not because he was afraid of Yan Qingqing, but because he was really embarrassed to have these two women staring at him. Before Han Jian could speak, Wu Qingxi suddenly stopped Cai Kinghu's neck and laughed softly. Hoo, let me teach you how to kiss to make a man want to stop. Han Jian is not an antique. Young people in modern society usually say goodbye to their first kiss at the age of 12 or 13. Wu Qingxi is an artist, so it is inevitable that there will be kissing scenes, etc., but then she saw Wu Qingxi pouting towards Cai Kinghu, the latter's face was full of panic. Just when Wu Qingxi's two flaming red lips were about to succeed, she was stopped. The distance between the four lips was 3 to 5 centimeters, Wu Qingxi's head could no longer get closer, and a small white slap appeared on Cai Kinghu's mouth. Han Jian and Yan Qingqing took action at the same time. As an outstanding representative of the straight male lineage, he cannot accept being gay, nor can he accept Lily, especially a woman who has a relationship with him. However, Yan Qingqing, a straight female representative, cannot accept two women kissing at all. She would get goosebumps all over her body. Wu Qingxi didn't turn her head. She grabbed Han Jian's arm and put it on her shoulders, intending to throw him over the shoulder. Han Jian, who had rich combat experience, raised his other hand and pressed it on Wu Qingxi's body. Just this location. If you want to complete an over-the-shoulder throw, you need to use the power of your back to throw the person over. If you want to bend your back, a certain private part must be pushed back. Han Jian knows this principle well, so he put his palm against Wu Qingxi's buttocks. Not light. Wu Qingxi blushed and let go of Han Jian's arm, then trotted all the way to Yan Qingqing's office. Han Jian stood there slightly embarrassed. Isn't this a bit bad? Fortunately, Yan Qingqing and Cai Kinghu had no time to talk to him at this time, otherwise this would have been a big deal just now. Han Jian was the first to speak to break the awkward situation, pointing at Wu Qingxi who had escaped, and whispered. Did you two live together when you were in the capital? Cai Kinghu was slightly startled, and Yan Qingqing quickly let go of Cai Kinghu, retreated to Han Jian's side, held Han Jian's arm on his chest, and said with a horrified expression. No way. Kinghu, are you gay? Now Han Jian's attention is not on whether Cai Kinghu is gay, but on the softness coming from his arms. This. Could it be the legendary Dire Straits? Cai Kinghu also discovered Yan Qingqing's little plan, and took a step forward to pull Han Jian away. Yan Qingqing quickly hugged Han Jian and said warily. No, Han Qian cannot accept gay women. Before he finished speaking, Cai Qinghu hit Yan Qingqing's forehead with a slap in the head and frowned. Han Qian knows better than you whether I am gay or not. Let go of your hand quickly. No. I won't let go. I want to tell Nuanuan that you kissed Han Qian forcefully. Tell me, Han Qian even kissed me forcefully, and we even slept together on the same bed. You fart, there is no way Han Qian will sleep in the same bed as you. This sentence is true. Han Qian did go to the hotel twice with Cai Qinghu, including the Ripples, but the two of them still slept in separate rooms. Han Qian gently broke away from Yan Qingqing's tenderness. He couldn't go on like this. Something would happen after a long time. He turned to go downstairs, but Cai Qinghu grabbed him by the collar. Go back. There's something you haven't said yet. Why don't you give up the 2,000 yuan? People die for money, and birds die for food. A strong man can bend and stretch. Han Qian turned around and walked to Yan Qingqing's office. Han Qian opened the door. Wu Qingxi raised her head and glared at Han Qian. She moved her mouth at Han Qian without making a sound. Even without listening, you can guess that what she said is definitely not a good thing. Fortunately, this woman was Wu Qingxi, not another girl. Unfortunately, she was the only one who would throw Han Qian over her shoulder. Han Qian walked to the sofa and sat down. Wu Qingxi quickly stood up and walked over with a look of disgust on her face. By the window. Han Qian curled his lips when he saw this, stretched out his hand and shouted to Cai Qinghu. Qinghu, smell what my hands smell like. Cai Qinghu walked toward Han Qian with doubts. Wu Qingxi guessed Han Qian's little thoughts, stretched her hand behind her, squeezed it gently, and then spoke hurriedly. Hoo, come here, my thing seems to be open. Oh, wait a minute, let me take a look at Han Qian's hands first. It's going to fall. Come here quickly. Han Qian can't die. I know. Cai Qinghu could only give up Han Qian and go to Wu Qingxi. After Cai Qinghu learned about the situation, he pushed Wu Qingxi to Yan Qingqing's office. Han Qian sneered and thought, let's see who suffers. When he was proud, Yan Qingqing suddenly sat next to Han Qian and said softly. What's it like to kiss Cai Qinghu? Han Qian's mind buzzed and he forgot about Empress Yaksha. Han Qian turned around, scratched his head in embarrassment and whispered. Strawberry flavor. This was undoubtedly provoking Yan Qingqing's anger. Empress Yasha grabbed Han Qian's hair and was about to smash his head onto the coffee table. His head was stopped in mid-air, and Yan Qingqing said softly. Han Qian, your hair has grown, let me cut it for you. Han Qian slowly raised his head and said resentfully. You can just wipe my neck for me. Oops, I meant to cut your hair. No, I'm afraid you can't get me and then kill me. As soon as he said this, Han Qian regretted it. Han Qingqing stood up and walked to the desk expressionlessly, bent down and took out the baseball bat inside, and said calmly. Han Qian, you seem to be a little confused. You have a mouth disease. I will treat it for you today. After saying that, he walked towards Han Qian with a baseball bat. Just as Han Qian was about to stand up, Yan Qingqing said angrily. If you dare to run away, I'll go downstairs and smash the car you're driving. At worst, I'll buy you a new car. Han Qian stopped moving. Yan Qingqing raised her legs and stepped on the back of the sofa at Han Qian's shoulders, poked Han Qian's face with a baseball bat, and said with a sinister smile. I'll kill you if I can't get you. Thanks to your words, I've been hummed to pieces for you, and I've been thinking about you day and night, but you suspected that I would hurt you. It's fine now, no need to doubt. Yes, just let me confirm it for you. Han Qian raised his hands, holding the cold baseball bat on his cheek, and laughed dryly. It's a joke, why do you do it? Are you making trouble? I'm not making trouble with you, what? Your hair is a token of love, so I can only cut it for you because of my warmth. No, no. My dear, you are fine. The two women who had arranged their underwear in the lounge came out side by side, looking at the scene in front of them with confusion in their eyes. At this moment, Yan Qingqing's posture did not change, and the baseball bat was still pressed against Han Qian's cheek. Every time he poked lightly, he would ask, "Do you love me? Love, 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 love. Do it again, love me or not. Love you, love you. Again."